So, Spencer Johnson did a video recently talking about how he saved $3,248.69 worth of travel expenses, all based on the Creator Meetup in Las Vegas. And sorry, I took the exact title because you know what? I took that number as a challenge. And while I don't think I could actually beat that top line number, I still think me, out of anybody else that actually did that Creator Meetup, saved and actually earned the most amount of money in that entire trip. You heard that right. I actually earned money by going on a 3-day excursion with all of my friends. But like I said, I felt personally challenged by Spencer's video, and now I am challenging you, whoever's watching this and actually went to the Creator Meetup, make your own response video, because I guarantee you nobody got a better deal than me. Except for maybe Sledge. I think he actually stayed in like $1,000 a night hotel room and paid not that many Hilton Honors Points, I think. So how did I exactly do this? How did I actually earn money by going on this trip? Well, between the dates of September 1st and September 5th, I stayed in a total of 2 different Hilton hotels. One paid for completely in points, and one actually paid for completely in cash. Now I know that sounds weird to hear me say that. Just gave me chills, actually, thinking about cash and, all that stuff. Jesus, RJ, what are you doing here, man? God, talk about cash for a second, you show up? Whew, alright, okay. And not only that, but during this trip, I used 4 different credit cards to actually save me upwards to hundreds of dollars on just this trip alone. So in this video, we're going to be talking about 4 things. Number 1, we're going to talk about how exactly I got to Vegas in the first place. That's the flight, that's the airline, the credit card I actually used to get a free flight to Vegas, as well as the credit cards that allow me to get into lounge access, and then the lounges themselves, which ended up being about 5 lounges the entire trip. I think it was a Centurion lounge, 3 Delta Sky lounges, and 1 Escape lounge. Number 2 is the destination and how I actually saved money and actually earned a lot of money just by staying at the hotel itself in Vegas. Number 3 is which credit cards I used to save the most amount of money while I'm in Vegas, and I'm talking food, rideshare, etc. And number 4 is, of course, me just talking through some footage of me actually meeting up with some of the greatest people in this whole credit card community at this time, and some shots of me and my wife since we did get married in Vegas, if I haven't said it a million different times already. Which, that wedding was something I couldn't pay for in points and miles, unfortunately, but what can you do? So firstly, the flight. Now, I actually planned this many months in advance. I did an old video on it, on exactly how I applied and was approved for my Amex Delta Business Gold SkyMiles credit card. And pretty much the TLDR is, it got me out of pop-up jail since it was a business card. It's a business card, which means it doesn't count towards 524, and it had a really high welcome offer of 75,000 bonus SkyMiles after 3K worth of spend, which we put on our taxes immediately after getting that card, hit the welcome offer pretty much within a month of having the card. And at this time, we were going to be flying from Greenville, South Carolina, which, unbeknownst to me, happens to be one of the most expensive airports, it seems like, to fly out of, because there's really no direct flights. It's all connecting flights, and we all have small planes, which required us to have an actual layover in Atlanta first before going all the way out to Sin City. And at that time, when I was booking the Delta flight from Greenville to Las Vegas, I saw that the cash price was actually in excess of $1,300 for 2 round-trip tickets for me and my then fiance, which was after taxes, after fuel surcharges, etc. But of course, that's why I signed up for the card, right? Because I did not want to come out of pocket at all, any dollars, for this trip itself. So, how many miles did it end up costing me to have $1,300 in flights completely for free? Well, you guessed it, 75,000 SkyMiles, right? So, pretty much that was completely for free. Did have to pay the taxes on that flight itself, unfortunately, since the points and miles can't cover that, so it ended up being about $22 for the both of us for 2 round-trip tickets, which was not bad. And also something quick about the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport. I mean, it's like really small. I mean, there's a few terminals, few baggage claim things. And I remember when I went there, I was so excited because I signed up for TSA PreCheck, and I was like, oh, I'm finally going to be able to use it. Lo and behold, they closed the whole line down because literally there's no one else in the airport when I was flying out. And throughout the whole screening process, there was a total of 3 people, me and my fiance being 2 of them. I mean, it was like, it was the fastest thing I've ever seen in my life. And once we got through those pearly gates, aka just the normal TSA line, I ended up seeing a glowing light ahead of me, and that happened to be the Escape Lounge. This is a lounge that is free for Platinum holders and allows you to take, I think, 1 or 2 guests in completely for free for yourself, so we both got in, and of course we got some drinks for this impending flight that was about to happen momentarily, and I was really scared. I was freaking out.
This is too fast. This is too fast. He's freaking flying it. He's flying the plane. He's going too fast.
And I was like, I gotta get something in me to get me through this flight. In case you guys don't know, I'm pretty afraid of flying.
He's going too fast.
Alright, I always think the plane's gonna go down and it's like flight 180 in its final destination. It's very scary for me. And like I said, there's no direct flights, which means we had to lay over in Atlanta, Georgia first. And Atlanta is huge. Let me tell you, Atlanta was like at least 10x the size, probably 15x the size of the Greenville airport that I was just in 2 hours prior. So what did I do? As soon as I landed in Atlanta, like a true man that I am, I called up CalVNG and I FaceTimed him. I said, I don't know where to go. So he and his wife were able to direct me all the way to the terminals I had to actually get to get on my next flight, but more importantly, the Delta Skylounge, which of course is where I was able to also get in for free being a platinum holder, but then also we maybe kind of snuck the wife in as well. You know, maybe might have happened. I'm not sure. So $50 saved. And of course, once we were there, I ended up taking the lion's share of the little pre-made sandwiches they have. I think I got about 10, maybe even 15 of those sandwiches between the two of us, which was those are pretty good. And of course, more wine, right? To get back on yet another flight that I'm scared to death of. So then we proceeded to fly for 4+ hours on the scariest plane ride of my life, while everyone else was perfectly fine, and my wife, who was in awe of the night sky. You'll love to see it. Then we landed in Vegas, and we were instantly greeted with nothing but the smell of debauchery and a bunch of slot machines, actually. They're really surprised to see slot machines as far as the eye can see. As soon as I landed in the Vegas airport, it was actually hilarious. So once we landed, of course, we needed our first place to stay, the hotel. So with a little bit of toil and a little bit of Hilton Honors Points, we were able to book the Hilton True. That is basically like a 2 or 3 minute drive from the airport itself. And I made sure beforehand that this True, since it was near the airport, I wanted to see, did it have an airport shuttle, which I definitely recommend if anybody's going to be flying anywhere, if you're going to be staying near the airport, see if they have an airport shuttle, because you might be able to just land, get on the shuttle, go straight to the hotel, and you don't have to worry about transportation or buying an Uber at 1 a.m. when you're flying in like I did. But we eventually got up on the airport shuttle, we made it to the True, and that was our first night. When we woke up, we were instantly greeted by the view of a very dry desert with the outline of the Las Vegas Strip in the background. And we didn't really have much time to enjoy the hotel whatsoever. By the time we woke up, we already had to leave since checkout was at 11, and we had to get to our next hotel, which is going to be the one that we were going to stay in for the rest of the remaining days in Vegas. So we called an Uber over. It came within 10 minutes, which happened to be free because if you're unaware, the Amex Platinum card and the Amex Gold card, 2 cards that I own, both come with monthly credits towards Uber. The Platinum card comes with $15 a month in Uber credits, and also the Gold card comes with $10 a month in Uber credits. So with this $25 that I had in my account to use towards Uber, I was able to pay for this entire Uber completely for free, and I still had about half of those funds left over. And no longer than a 10-minute drive and a great conversation with the Uber driver, we found our new stay for the next 3 days, that being the Hilton Grand Vacations. Which, a little bit of foreshadowing, but that place ended up having the perfect driveway for a limo to go pick us up before we got married, but more on that in a little bit. So you might be asking, why did I stay at the Hilton Grand Vacations property? Why didn't I stay at the Waldorf Astoria like every other credit card creator that was there, that was balling out of control and had a million Hilton points, huh? Why didn't I follow suit and do that with them? So, you know those emails, right? Like, Hilton Grand Vacations, come vacation with us. 3 days for a really cheap price, and we'll give you certain points or a gift card just for coming in, right? You've seen those emails. Well, I'm one of the guys that signed up and said, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds good. So initially they offered me just 50,000 Hilton Honors Points, and I think it was about $200 for a 3-day, 4-night stay in that same property in Vegas. Which is not bad. It's a pretty good deal. Way better than spending like $300 every single night at some of those properties out there. But no later than a few days after I completely paid in full for everything on that email, I got a new email from Hilton Grand Vacation stating like, hey, stay at the same Hilton property. It's cheaper. Now it's only $150. And you're also going to get 100,000 Hilton Honors Points and not 50,000. So basically a cheaper cash price and a higher Hilton Honors bonus price just for attending their timeshare presentation. So I said, what the hell is this? So I immediately got on the phone and I said, hey man, I just booked this. Can I like cancel it and then rebook the new package? And they were like, you can't do that. It's impossible. And then eventually after like an hour on the phone, they were like, actually it is possible after I talked to like the manager. And basically what they did was they ended up refunding it and then yes, rebooking the new package. Ergo, lo and behold, I ended up getting the 100K Hilton Honors Points package and only paying about $168 in a cash price after taxes and fees completely for the 3-day stay in Vegas, which was a lot better. I mean, come on, 50,000 Hilton Honors Points? Come on, that's something you have to fight for in life. And because I was curious, I looked online, so it looks like if I wanted to book that same hotel on Labor Day in Vegas next year, it would end up being about $150 every single night just for a cash price at that property, which would end up being about, after taxes and fees, looks like it ended up being about 4 times the price of what I paid for to stay there just by attending their timeshare presentation. Or if you're going to redeem Hilton points for that, it was like 220,000 Hilton Honors Points, which is like a complete ripoff. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so they're giving me 100,000 Hilton Honors Points, and I only have to pay $168 in cash. In my mind, that means, hey, each Hilton point on average is worth about 0.5 or 0.6 cents per point. It would pretty much be worth about $600 worth of value for something I only have to pay $168 in cash for. I'm pretty much profiting $300 in pure travel value by taking their offer. So I said, that's a no-brainer, and that's why I did it. And if you're wondering about the whole timeshare presentation, is it scary? Is it crazy? Like, what's the deal? Do they pull you by the arm and, they sit you in a room and you're locked in there forever? Well, if you want the full details on that, Calby and G did an entire breakdown on our timeshare presentation. But if you want just some cliff notes, we signed up. We were put in a room with a projector that had about 15 to 20 other people in there also attending their presentation, and a guy who looked like Ben Shapiro, who was pretty much telling us why, because he actually got involved with Hilton Grand Vacations and works there and bought the packages, that now he has a 10 out of 10 smoking hot wife and basically just vacations around the world and never has to think about money whatsoever in his entire life. And then I think he ended a story with, unfortunately, his late father, who he was able to take on a life-changing vacation for him just before he unfortunately passed away. And that was pretty much the extent of the entire presentation, to which they brought us into another room to meet the closer. And the closer pretty much took me, Calby, and his wife all in a room together, and she was pretty much hard pressed on trying to sell us like that $22,000 package. And then when that didn't work, it was $11,000 package. And then when that didn't work, it was like a try it out package for like a couple thousand. And pretty much they just looked at us like a lost cause after 90 minutes. Because Calby pretty much gave him the story that, he has only one day off of work every single year from his boss. And I said, if I take off more than one day, I get crippling anxiety and I hate myself. To which she then replied, you guys are slaves to the systems and you guys are robots and you need to be happier. So we both said, thank you very much. So then she said, all right, get out of here, go sign your name and go get your points. Thank you very much. And she skedaddled. As soon as that 90-minute mark came, she ran away. So we signed our names, and no longer than 1 or 2 hours later, the points, the 100K points, were deposited into my account. So now that we are fully here in Vegas, we need to now get to the Strip to meet up with our fellow credit card creators, since today was the day of the meetup. So with this, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I actually had 3 different cards to help me out with this cost, because rideshare happened to be one of the most expensive costs throughout the entire trip itself, okay? If you're in Vegas, you ain't driving, all right? You're getting Ubers, you're getting Lyfts, etc. So I had 3 different cards to help me with that, that being the Platinum and the Gold, like I said earlier, but also the Bilt Mastercard. Now, if you guys don't remember, a few months ago, I think in July, Bilt had a whole partnership you could opt in for, which was the Bilt and Lyft partnership. And by actually doing that, they give you $25 in Lyft credits that happen to expire at the end of September, which I saved up diligently over those next 2 months, and I was able to use it in Las Vegas. And also, once I pretty much ran out of money on the Uber credits from the Platinum and the Gold, I exclusively used the Bilt Card because they had a 5x multiplier on all Lyft rides, which was pretty nice in and itself as well. So in total, once I exhausted all of my rideshare credits, it was basically $50 that I was able to save through those 3 credit cards. That and Calby and I would carpool together, so this way we saved a lot of money back and forth. So we hopped in the Lyft and on our way to the Creator Meetup, where I met the likes of friends that I've made over the last year in this whole community. And that was something special. That night, meeting everyone and talking was one of the best nights of my entire life. Everyone was such in good spirits. JP bought me some wine. I arm wrestled Josh, CJ, and Chad.
What's up? Tony, who won arm wrestling? I beat all 3. I'm kidding.
And I met a couple other great people that came up to me, and the first thing out of their mouths was, hey Anthony, why are you always filming in your car? To which my response was, it's my office. No, seriously, it's actually an office. And a little bit of mingling and some time went by, and all of a sudden Spencer Johnson came up to me and he said, hey man, you want to use the gold credit at Shake Shack? It's right down the road. Kind of like that. And I said, yeah, let's go do that. So basically everyone kind of rounded up and we went over to Shake Shack, and basically a mob of 10 to 15 people, creators, everybody mixed in, all hoarded over to use their Amex Gold cards at Shake Shack, just to make use of that $10 Amex dining credit that you get every single month by holding the card. And remember, nobody's paying for the Shake Shack with the Rose Gold card, right? Everybody's using the Classic Gold card, all right? That's why we left CJ outside. He was out in the cold. He says, I'm not going... He said, I'm not going in there with all those... I can't. He said, I'm not going in there with all those Classic Gold holders. To which I was like, hell yeah, you ain't. I'm going... Classic Gold for the win. In fact, Chad was so happy to use his Amex Gold card finally for something like this that he actually started dancing. So because I couldn't think of a segue, what do we have so far on this entire trip, right? What is the total amount saved and total amount earned altogether so far? So number one, we have to start with the flight. So the flight was $1,300 that we paid for completely in SkyMiles, which was $75,000 SkyMiles, and then of course I had to pay the taxes in cash, so that was about $22 that I had to pay out of my pocket. I would say we saved about $300 by actually booking the timeshare presentation for the $168 deal, instead of like booking directly with cash, which would have been about $500, maybe $600, I think, on the high end. And before you ask, maybe you could say like, maybe you would have stayed at somewhere cheaper, but I don't think you're getting cheaper than like $140 a night at a pretty nice hotel in Vegas. I don't know, but maybe I could have. Who knows? But either way, like, I was either going to pay for that hotel or something more expensive if I wasn't able to actually do this timeshare presentation. So save $300 there, and then we also earned $300 by actually attending the timeshare presentation and getting 100,000 Hilton Honors Points, which I actually just used 85,000 of that for the next trip very, very soon, but I can't tell you guys that because my wife watches the videos and it's a secret for her. Number three is we saved $50 on all Lyfts and Uber rides just via those credit cards we talked about earlier. And then we saved $10, of course, at Shake Shack for the Amex Gold card. And number five, I guess if you want total costs, we did spend about $1,000 on the whole wedding and professional photography, etc. on Fremont Street, so you know, it's something, again, I couldn't pay with points and miles. I'm very upset about it, but I have to say, despite all the rumors and all of the infamy that Vegas actually gets for Las Vegas weddings, I have to say it was an amazing experience. I really could not actually ask for a more magical, more clean, and more romantic kind of experience than what we actually experienced in a Las Vegas wedding. So for anybody that's out there that doesn't want to deal with like planning a million things or planning family and friends and etc., maybe sometimes it's hard, people work, who knows, all those things kind of go out the window. You do it in Vegas, it's cheaper, I would say more fun, and you know, and it's a unique experience at the end of the day. And I couldn't have asked for a better time, and of course a better wife throughout all of it. And of course here's me crying a million different times, so that's I'm even crying now. I'm even starting to cry now. Who knows? Which my wife just told me to remind you guys that, you know, you could scan the QR codes here if you want to get the Platinum, the Gold, the Bilt. Those cards that pretty much helped me on this trip, the Delta SkyMiles, if you want to, and if you think any of those cards can actually benefit your life in any way. I'm just kidding. She didn't say that. I said that. I'm desperate. And then we did a married live stream at the top of a 550-foot Ferris wheel. That pretty much scared the life out of me, of course, as well. Like, why do we have to do these tall things that could possibly break? I'm scared. So I would say in totality, the amount of money I was actually able to save via either just the credit cards for all their credits for rideshare and food, or just the points and miles for the hotels and the airlines, etc., minus the wedding, happened to be a savings of $1,660 completely in total for, again, an amazing 3-day excursion with some of my greatest friends at this point. But that alone does not necessarily account for all the total money that I saved. That was just the immediate value right then and there, but we didn't even talk about the lounge access. And honestly, during this entire trip, I was really contemplating canceling my Amex Platinum card because I wasn't really getting as much value as I could have, but having experienced all these lounges and everything that comes along with it, I decided throughout this entire trip to actually continue to keep my Platinum card open, as well as all the details surrounding those lounges that I actually went to in Vegas in this video right here. So I'll see you over there, and of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you.